Welcome back, y'all. So my last video I was installing the VMP intercooler and manifold on the Supercharger, and when my GoPro was dying, so anyway I put it up for the night. But real quick, I had my wife come out. She helped me get it in, get the blower in. So today I'm going to be finishing installing this. Hopefully have the Cobra running today. The only things I've done that I didn't film was get the blower in and bolt up the lower intake manifold to the heads. It's the 10 millimeter bolts. The size may vary. I think the factory ones were 12s, possibly. They might have been 10s as well, but there's 5 on each side. That's all I have gotten done with it since. So today, got to get all the injectors hooked up, get that wiring harness hooked up, the fuel rail pressure sensor, the IAT sensor, get the vacuum lines all around plugged in, get the fuel line connected, IAC throttle position sensor, get the throttle cables plugged in. I'll do the cold air intake last because it's easier to get to the intercooler pump relay, because I'm going to jumper it when I go to burp in the intercooler. But I got to get the belt on after that, get the hoses also routed, which I'm going to go ahead and jack the car up like I did with the intercooler pump, because I got to get that installed. I'm going to pull all the intercooler hoses out and rerun them. I'm only going to be running 1-inch probably from the top to the tank, and a short section to the inlet, the bottom port of the intercooler manifold, because I don't, everything else is 3/4 size, so it's rather than reducing everywhere, I'm just going to reduce in those 2 spots. But anyway, so I'm going to get started. I'm probably going to go ahead and do the intercooler pump and the intercooler hoses first before I go ahead and because the top part will take probably 10 minutes. So I'll be back. All right, y'all. So got the hoses out. One of them was on there pretty good. It hadn't been moved since, well, I don't think I don't know when. So what I'm gonna do next is get the intercooler pump in. It's pretty easy. It's just the one clamp on the underneath. Let me set y'all down for a second, and then I'll show you. So I can go ahead and slide it in here. And then, so, right there. So this will go in like so. 10 millimeter bolt right there. We'll tighten it down, and then the connector is right there. In fact, I'll go ahead and clip that. Okay. 10mm. Our hard bends. So it used to point that way. You know, that way I'm gonna have it facing down, because I'm actually, instead of this, I'm gonna have it going straight to the heat exchanger, and then the heat exchanger going up, just to shorten the hose routing. So I used to have it routed tank to pump to intercooler to heat exchanger back to tank. That was hence to all that. Since I don't really haven't been tracking this at all, I'm just gonna run it tank to pump to heat exchanger to intercooler to tank. It should take a few feet out of a hose out and simplify it, have less hoses running up and down. So I'm gonna work on that, and I'll be back. I'll show you all what I got going on once I'm done. All right, y'all, so got the intercooler piping pretty well routed. So how I'm doing it is having from the tank feeding the pump, so it's a lot shorter. Pump goes into the heat exchanger, and then heat exchanger runs back up to right here, goes into the lower port on the intercooler. I did reduce it down, or use 3/4, just because of this. I wanted to do 1 inch for further back, but because of this bend, because of the stock coolant crossover, the pipe, it was going to kink anyway. And with the 1 inch all the way up here, there was no way to get this the top one on. So I did what I did. So my thoughts, in the future, when I do decide to redo the intercooler system and upgrade to 1 inch, I will also find a coolant crossover delete, or because this is tight with this in here. It pushes the hose over just enough that makes the top one really hard to get on. I had to get the clamp down in there first and hold it just right while I pushed the hose on. Yeah, doing this on the car with the stock coolant crossover is a nightmare. It's just the way it is. It's trying to fit, 10 pounds of shit in 5-pound sack right here with these 1 inch lines. But it's on. I don't have this tight just yet to give me some wiggle room. I've got to send my wife to the store for a fitting. Couldn't find one yesterday, so she's going to a different store in a different town. But moving on, I'm going to go ahead and start hooking up everything up top while I wait. So like I said, I've already got the blower bolted down. I'm going to go ahead and, on this side, clip in all the injectors. Okay. That one, turn that injector like so. Got to, I'm going to leave that loose because the bypass valve needs a little bit more room. That's the EGR, not the, where is she at? There she is. There's the IAT sensor hookup. Okay, she's on. And the fuel rail pressure sensor. Okay, that's all the wiring on this side. So, let me do this. Vacuum hoses. Slide those out of the way. So, throttle position sensor, which this cord and cable is awfully tight. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit more room, pull it off the fuel rail. Got that. So, go ahead and hook up the BAP fuel rail. Let's see if I can get this with one hand. No, let me set you down. Whoa on that. There she goes. Okay. Now, let's see where. Vacuum right there. So fuel rail's in, evap line's in, the vacuum source stabbed in there. Coming over here, fuel rail pressure sensor. Get that sucker on there. And so this one I actually need to redo again because that guy is now bigger. So than the previous bypass valve, so I need to get a bigger vacuum line. I'll be right back. Okay, so yep, I actually had an elbow, so I just stuck an elbow on it and teed it off there. Got the other vacuum fitting bolted down. So looks like, yeah, this side's done. Got that all in there. Yeah, everything's all hooked up back there. So right now, I'm not going to put the intake in just yet. I'm not going to bolt this in just yet because I get a little wiggle room there. So at the moment, I'm just at a pause X with this until the wife gets here. I may go ahead and put the battery in it. That's pretty much about it. I mean, yeah, I'll go ahead and put the battery in real quick. All I need for that is 8mm. Okay, battery's on. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the throttle cables, throttle and cruise. So let's run those right through there. So the throttle goes through the left side. Cruise goes to the top, or the right side of it. Put that in, and I need to get my return spring. Yeah, that's all hooked up. Now I'm gonna actually go ahead and put the belt on. Get my 1/4" ratchet. And my handy cheater pipe from the jack. Sure it's all lined up. Okay, we're in the threads there and the threads there. All right, belt's on. So pretty much, yeah. So right now, one of the things left to do is get this last fitting on here so I can tighten down the tank, burp the intercooler system, make sure there's no leaks. Then once I do that, I'll get the intake on and then get the car back on the ground and get the wheel on. Get the wheel on, then get the car back on the ground. Then maybe we can take it for a drive. Be back. All right, so got the trusty fitting on there. So this will be how it looks for now. Just basically got a short section, a 3-inch or 3/4 inch hose under that, slid into the 1-inch. We'll see how that works. I'm fixing to burp it. I did notice that it seems to be flowing easier through the pump the way I rerouted the hosing or the hoses. So we'll see. I might not have to pull the hoses like I used to burp it, but yeah. So anyway, let me get this on the time lapse and I'm going to start trying to get it going. All right, so I forgot about something. So I'm going to jumper the intercooler pump. So you just take this off, pull this relay out, and it's the two that are perpendicular to the way the car travels. This one and all right, so she's not running. I'll be right back. Okay, so let me try and get this in here so y'all can see what I'm doing. It's gonna be kind of hard to show. Yep. Okay, so what I like to do, it's a little messy, but got water flowing to it. Get that coat. Okay. So that's water coming through it. Let me try it and jumper this off with my wire. See if we can't get this thing to run. Oop, don't want it to, you don't want it to go dry. So I'm gonna put this on a time lapse while I do this. So you can see it. All right, so she's running. I like to let it run for a few minutes, but I don't know how well that's going to show. It's flowing all right. I like to let it run for a few minutes. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take my 8mm and tighten up these two hose clamps. The one for the feed and the one for the return of the intercooler pump. Right in there. Do that real quick. Okay, those are tight in there. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. I want to drain the battery. So I'll put it on another time lapse. I'm gonna get the splash shield, the air fender well in, and get the tire up on there and get the car back on the ground. Once I've done that, I will hit this one more time. Once I'm happy with it, when it's level, then I'll start putting the intake on and getting it ready to start up. Okay, so back level. Fixing to jumper this again. I think I need to add a little bit more coolant. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more coolant. Okay, we'll let it run for another couple minutes. All right, she's flowing pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that. Put the relay back in. It only goes one way. Same with the cap. There's ridges on one side that guide it. Sort of. Okay, that's in there. Got my MAF connector and my IAT connector. I like to do the IAT first because it's a little bit longer, a little bit easier. Get the MAF connector in there. Slide this on over. Make sure to get the throttle body coupler on there good. Okay. Tighten those down. Okay, get the heat shield in here, tight, but okay, it's on. Then put the cap back on. So now all I got to do is go go ahead and refill the supercharger. Helps if you cut the end off the cap first. Okay. Sit for a few minutes because I think something's still running down. But that's pretty much that. I'll be right back. All right, so let it sit for a few minutes. Check the oil here so you can see it's got oil up to the 2 marks. So she's good to go there. We'll be back. I'm gonna go get the keys and see if she'll start. All right, so moment of truth. Full disclosure, I'm not even sure if it will start because it's been sitting for so long, but we'll see. Okay, so sounds like the battery's a little low. Gotta wait on the wife to get home so she can pull over here and jump it off. We'll do a quick check with the voltmeter. Yeah, she's a little low, so we'll give it a little bit. I'll be back. Hopefully get a start up on this thing. Okay, so she's running. I'm gonna pull it out of the shop and let it run and charge and let it relearn the idle a little bit. And yeah, so this will probably wrap it up. Once I let it run for 20 minutes or so, I'm probably going to take it, go wash it. I might go get some good Wi-Fi and upload some videos. But anyway, that's another project done.